Guys, we got earnings coming in from Snowflake as well as Urbn Outfitters. We're going to start with Snowflake. I think a little bit bigger name in terms of its tech exposure, AI exposure. I heard Scott Bauer was a believer in this name earlier today on Morning Trade Live. Initial reaction seems to agree with him. The stock's jumping about $10 here. Kevin, it looks like first quarter revenue slightly ahead of the expectations, $1.04 billion. I also see an adjusted diluted EPS at 24 cents, which beats the 21 cent estimated by Bloomberg. They still see their operating margin for the full year at 8%, and they now see $4.33 billion for full year product revenue, previously seeing $4.28, so a little bit of a nudge higher on that key metric. Kevin, what do you make on sort of a first glance reaction and numbers from Snowflake?
Yeah, beat both top bottom line, and you raise your revenue guidance moving forward. I think the market really wants to see that, especially in this type of environment here. Also looking at the remaining performance obligations, that's sitting at $6.7 billion. They saw 34% growth on a year over year. So they're seeing the orders and the backlog, which is going to obviously project future revenues here, which is another reason why they're raising that revenue guidance up here. It seems like there's consistent demand for their products and services, and it also appears that their leadership staff has done a pretty decent job here with trying to calm some of these longer-term investors within this name that got a little concerned about February last year losing their CEO, and obviously it's been a little bit of a rocky ride for Snowflake, but it seems like they're catching their footing here, and they're hitting on pretty much every single metric that you would like to see them hit on. So I'm actually curious to see what the conference call is going to bring, especially when it comes to artificial intelligence, which they have exposure to that space, but it seems like they continue to integrate with others and partner with others in order to try to expand that offering there. And so I would love to get a progress report on that end of their business here.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of it. I think they got the Chat GPT and the Claude partnerships. That'll be a big part of the call. Scott, I'll give you a chance real quick. Anything to add on Snowflake before we get to Urbn?
Well, yeah, just real quick. We know that Snowflake has grown. We know that they're really making some progress there. They're no longer just a burn cash to growth story anymore, right? They provided a scale, and if they stay disciplined, that's exactly what the market wants right now. We'll see if they can continue to do that. But if guidance is in check for these guys, it's going to be a good story for Snowflake this time.
Well said. Looking at Urbn, a big concern for this company, KG, has been the core namesake brand of Urbn Outfitters. Comp store sales for the first quarter on Urbn Outfitters, a positive 2.1%, growing, expected to have fallen by 1.3%. I don't know that I need to even say any other metrics here, Kevin. That seems to be enough alone to really change the story for Urbn.
Yeah, I mean, it's other other business units as well. So yeah, obviously you're focusing on that side, but you also have some other growth areas within their business here. The comparable retail segment net sales came in at 6.9% at Anthropologie here. So that's also another big driver. That's a huge area for their company when it comes to sales. You're looking at Free People also seeing growth of 2.1% here. I don't have the it looks like they did. I mean, they smashed the street's expectations for bottom line here. I'd love to see what their guidance is going to be moving forward. But once again, a little bit of a shift. A concern has been put in the market because of the supply chain. Where are they sourcing their materials from? And if they are seeing a slowing when it comes to the consumer, these numbers kind of suggest that maybe the bar is already very low and they're seeing some pretty decent growth here. And maybe that's not going to be a concern for this business as much as we have seen for maybe others that have a little bit more international exposure, especially on the supply chain front.
Well said. And the reason I only quoted the one, Scott, is not because it was the most important. It's actually not. Anthropologie is definitely the most important segment. But there were concerns from analysts around Anthropologie. Anthropologie is seen as a strong part of this brand. The Urbn Outfitters point was the weak point. So if the weak point's strong and the other stuff's strong, the story writes itself. Final thoughts here before I say goodbye, gentlemen. Scott.
Yeah, one thing you got to remember with Urban Outfitters too is don't discount Nuuly. Nuuly, the rental clothing kind of company. I'm not exactly sure how to term that, but you're seeing. I'm interested to see the numbers on that from this one. If they're good, that's going to be good for the company. We'll see how that turns out. But Urban needs to turn the corner. This could be the time for him to do it.
Good call out. Beating estimates as a consensus by Bloomberg by 12.6%. So 124 million versus the 110 estimated on Nuuly. So the clothing rental service also firing on all cylinders. Scott Durfey, Kevin Green, thank you so much.